Another city example. This is actually a pretty well-designed email. For some of the reasons is that you can see the images at the top aren't that deep. This is actually all text. So even if these images didn't show up, it reiterates that it's city in the text. All the event information is in text. There is one thing this email could have that would make it a little bit better based on those best practices. Does anybody know? Anyone paying attention to the last slide? Shannon? It could have some more text-based links, which might, if somebody doesn't see images, make it more likely that they'll be able to. But that's the great thing about digital media is that we always learn something, and you can almost always improve what you've done. You never create a digital media ad and say, whew, I'm done. I'll never have to improve that again. Every bit of results that you get, you can improve upon and make your campaigns more and more effective. Wireless marketing. There's a lot of things you can do. A lot of people think only text messaging, but there's a lot you can do with the wireless web. And I always get a lot of questions about text messaging. But the wireless web is actually a really good way to reach people. It has a click-through rate right now of about 2% compared to 0.1% online. And that's because usually when you're surfing the wireless web, there's only one ad on the page, so there's no ad competition. It's usually it's a pretty novel experience at the moment. There's a couple of different ways to advertise. One of them is called on deck. And that basically is when you're advertising on the network's pages. So when you get onto the mobile web on your cell phone, you're usually taken to Verizon's deck or T-Mobile's deck. And those providers offer advertising opportunities. And then when you go off the deck, so when you go to, say, Wall Street Journal, mobile edition, that's off deck. And you can advertise on those sites as well. There's even mobile ad networks where you can place your ads across multiple mobile websites. It is targetable in a lot of the same ways as the web. So you can target by geography and content. For the most part, there's no occupational targeting, unfortunately. But it can be great, especially if you have a very general campaign that you're running, a great way to reach people and get a really good click-through rate and get their attention. Because usually, when you're surfing the web on your cell phone, you usually don't have a whole lot of other things to do. Like you're sitting in an airport, you don't have anything else to do. You might click on an ad more time than if you're at your job doing work. And then text messaging campaigns, of course, is another way that you can do it. A lot of people ask me if they can buy a text messaging list. We generally don't recommend that because again, texting is a very personal thing. Like I text my friends and my family, but I don't usually text any organizations or do a lot of that in terms of people who I don't know. And when I do get a text from someone I don't know, I'm relatively suspicious of it. So you really only want to send text, again, just like email, to people who have opted in to receive your text. If somebody offers you a text messaging list, I would be very suspicious. Text messaging is something that you should integrate into the out-of-home things that you're doing. So if you're running a billboard campaign or subway campaign, or anything like that where you're advertising, even print, you can integrate it into. So you provide a means within that ad to say, text us at this number and opt in. And then once that person opts in, then they're part of your list. And then you can send out broadcast text messages to say, how about this particular opportunity? And you can even link that into your email marketing database, have one, where you say, text your email address to this number, and then you get the email address. The system automatically sends an acknowledgement text as well as an email to that email address welcoming them to the list. And you can send a whole lot more information by email than by text message. So that can be a great function to sort of marry both relationship marketing and tech. And just here's an examples of how things look different on the mobile web. One of the challenges of advertising in this space is that every single cell phone has a different screen size. So basically, you have to create, when you do these campaigns, you just create many different sizes of the same ad. But the ads are resized basically to fit the screen. Oops, sorry. Different types of sites that you can advertise on. There's a million different types of sites. And it takes some work to try to figure out which ones really work best for your industry and the candidates that you're trying to recruit. But one that a lot of people don't always think about are the portals like AOL, MSN, Yahoo. Those portals, a portal is basically a site where you go to access a whole bunch of other content. So like you go to Yahoo, you get your email, you can go to finance, sports, all these different places. AOL and MSN are set up the same. They usually have a lot of deep information about their user. So Yahoo has some of the best targeting in that they have a very deep occupational targeting. So you can specifically target nurses in New York, or if you wanted to, system architects in New York. So it's they have very deep data on the people who use their sites, and you can use that to make sure that your recruiting campaigns are very targeted. Information news sites. Everybody knows these: CNN, ESPN, MTV. Those are great sites. One of the drawbacks is they're usually pretty expensive. Niche sites. So there are, for every single type of industry, there are several. Bankrate.com is one. Medscape is one for the medical health industry. Defense Daily is aerospace. So these are places where people are going not necessarily for careers. These aren't niche career sites. They're niche industry sites. There's diversity sites as well, and some of these are really targetable as well. So Black Planet, which is part of Community Connect, they actually own Asian Avenue and Mihente. You can target people by occupation on those sites. And you can do your buy through Monster, which has a partnership with them. But the Black Planet's probably one of, and all the Community Connect sites, probably one of the best places to advertise for diversity that we've seen, even though we've seen a lot of diverse candidates coming from a lot of the websites. So any of these sites online can have a really diverse audience. And we can actually look to see what the makeup, the composition of that site is. And sometimes you can make sure that there's diversity in your planning, even on major sites like Yahoo, by targeting Telemundo, which is their Hispanic section. Also, of course, major job boards, they offer all different types of advertising for recruitment, for more active candidates. The niche job boards also generally have advertising options. There's now the job board aggregators like Indeed and Simply Hired, which offer featured jobs, which you can sort of sponsor your jobs on their site to get more clicks to them than the natural search results that they have. The search engines, the networking sites, and blogs, of course.